Hey, this is the extended version of the video. If you want to see the original one, it's on the Wedding Film School channel. I go into more detail in this video, and if you want to skip to the end to find out how to grow your business, you can go to 2350, where I'm going to be talking about all those strategies. If you want to say hi or if you've got any questions, just leave those in the comments below. Hey, my name is Jesse, and today I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of one of our typical wedding days. A big thank you to Jason from Wedding Film School for having me on the channel today. So I want to show you behind the scenes of a wedding today, but I also want to show you how we built our studio into over 150 weddings per year, and also how we made over $500,000 in revenue. So I want to break everything down for you, but instead of being that guy in the corner talking to a camera kind of awkwardly, I'm probably just going to narrate over a lot of the footage when I'm back in the studio. This will be the easiest and most relaxed way to shoot weddings, which in our experience really brings out the best in people. So to thank you for sticking around until the end of the video, I'm also going to share some secrets on how we grew our business into 150 weddings per year and how we had 15 staff all over Australia helping us out. So if you've got any questions, just leave those down in the comments below. I hope you find today really helpful, but just a quick disclaimer that we're not that great in front of the lens. Hey guys, my name is Max.
Wow, you really are.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, I'm Max.
And my name is Jesse, and together we run the wedding studio Marry Me Movies. On average, we do between 80 to 150 weddings per year.
Today we're filming at the Gibraltar Hotel for a pretty common Western wedding. And I think something to touch on as well, probably pretty important, is when you first introduce yourself to a couple. Obviously, you might have never even met them before or had a Skype with them. You might not even know what they look like at that point. So it's always kind of a good thing to get in there, put the camera gear down and kind of introduce yourself as a human being rather than, you know, the guy with the camera or whatever. That way you can establish more of a personal relationship with that person before you get into more of a professional sort of layout.
So we normally film the groomsmen first, but today we're actually doing the bridal preps. So bridal preps can really be broken down into 3 different steps. The first is just documenting what's happening. So that's really just documenting what's happening on the morning. So that could be things like the bride reading a letter from the groom. It could be her getting into a dress, talking with the girls and laughing and having a great time, maybe hugging her parents. Anything that's happening on the day, you want to make sure that you're capturing that. Then there's capturing the extra shots of all the important people. So I really try to focus on the bride's parents. If she's not interacting with them, I'll say, hey guys, now that the bride's got her dress on, can I get you guys over there in the corner? Hey, why don't you guys hug each other? Maybe even dad, can you give her a kiss on the cheek or something like that? A really nice fun thing to do is to set up a bit of a first look with the parents. So this can especially be really nice for the dad when he hasn't seen his daughter all dressed up in her dress with hair and makeup on. When she comes out of that door looking like $1 million, he's probably going to get a little bit emotional, which is amazing footage for us on the day. So you also want to capture extra shots of the maid of honor, if she's got sisters or brothers, anyone in the family or anyone you think is important. This is going to be especially important if they're doing a speech later that night and they say something amazing. You're going to be able to overlay that footage of them in the morning, hugging the bride and laughing and having an amazing time. And that's going to mean that your footage with that speech running underneath it is really going to be that much more powerful. So we shoot in a candid and natural style. So that means that we're not going to be asking people to say, okay guys, on the count of 3, I want you to laugh now, because essentially that never works. And while when you're looking through that footage, you're going to see people laughing and smiling and having a great time, the bride or groom is going to see themselves laughing uncomfortably. So it's pretty much always better to try and tee up a moment where they're going to be laughing naturally. So if we get there in the morning and people aren't really having that much fun, maybe there's no music playing, people are a little bit tense and stiff, which totally does happen. It happens at probably 50% of weddings. We want to rock up on the day and really put everyone at ease. So that's going around talking to everyone, showing people that you're not this scary guy with a camera. If people aren't, I guess, having fun or there's no music playing, we might suggest, hey guys, why doesn't somebody put on a playlist? And then at some point I might say, okay, so have you got a bottle of champagne? Okay, let's go pop this bottle of champagne. Let's get you all together, get you popping it, laughing, having a great time. A really easy way of making the girls laugh is you say, all right girls, tell me a story of when the bride was a bit younger. What's one of her more embarrassing memories or something like that? Obviously, this is totally dependent on the type of crowd. If you're there and everyone's a Wall Street banker or something like that, maybe don't ask people what's your most embarrassing memory. But for a lot of people, you're going to be able to say that and get a good reaction. So really, we just want to be filming people in like 60 frames or even higher, laughing and having a great time. So some of the ways that you can do that, obviously it's going to be different for everyone, is something like, hey girls, so tell me about the hens night. How was that? So you want to have a little arsenal of different questions and scenarios to run by people, so that you can get all different types of people laughing and having fun. So the other really important thing to remember when you're at the brides in the morning is you want to be keeping an eye on the time, because you have to get to the ceremony a little bit early. You want to get there early so that you can get shots of the setup that they have there, but you also want to get there early so that you can get all of your sound set up. You want to go straight to the celebrant, introduce yourself, figure out what microphone and speaker setup they're using for the ceremony. So it really depends on the timings of the day and how far the preparations are from the ceremony. But obviously you need to set aside a little bit of time to get shots of the outside, get a few establishing shots, and anything else that really kind of stands out to you, anything that's pretty. So we normally start with the boys in the morning because we can get them done a lot quicker. So just like the bridal preparations, the groomsmen can be also broken down into 3 different steps. First of all, I want to document what's happening. Then you want to be getting, just like the bridal preps, the cinematic shots of certain things. So that would be things like the groom's jacket. The groom will have the rings usually in the morning. Kind of just open it up slightly. Yeah, sweet, just to see your kilt and the belts and stuff. Let's go from closed, nice and like close together, yeah, and then just open it up a little bit. Perfect. Sweet. So how we like to do it is I usually get everyone together in the morning before they've got their jackets on, and I get a shot of them having a beer or a whiskey and all doing a bit of a cheers and having a laugh. I ask them to tell me about, hey, what's one of the groom's most embarrassing memories? Oh, wow, I can't believe you did that. Things like that. So then we ask everyone to get ready. I'll ask for the best man to go up to the groom and do the finishing touches, like putting on his jacket, fixing up his tie, or maybe helping him with his cufflinks. Obviously, he's an important person in the groom's life, so we want to be getting lots of shots of him. So essentially what we're doing is running 3 sources of audio for the ceremony. We want 1 lapel on the groom, 1 lapel on the celebrant, and we also want to be tapped into the celebrant's PA system so that we have 3 sources just in case anything fails. Okay, so we're just plugging this into a little Zoom. Okay, so we're just going to test to see if everything's working. One, two, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they're low battery. One, two, 2, 2. And I use auto levels for this because I really don't want to be stressing about somebody peaking or being too quiet. Test it with the microphone to make sure it's working and there isn't any distortion or hissing or other weirdness. So for the ceremony, you want to mic up the celebrant or priest with a Tascam DR10L, and this is an amazing thing to use because it's auto leveling and it records 2 tracks. So we just need to go talk to someone to see if they can replace the batteries in the microphone, because this thing is flat.
Sorry, do they take? What one?
I think it's just one double A. Cool, okay, sweet. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2. Cool, I'm just gonna do a little test on this to make sure everything's working. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test. 1, 2. So do the same thing for the groom, also mic him up. And that way you've got 3 sources of audio for the day. Then once your audio is 100%, you can start getting shots of the ceremony, the setup, little flowers, maybe scenery in the area and that kind of thing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2. Perfect, we're good to go. And then if your time allows for it, get the groom to go to his final position, and you want him standing there, basically just, kind of anxiously waiting and that kind of thing. I like to get shots of his face, a nice close-up of his face, things like his hands if he's being a little bit nervous, and also him joking around and hanging out with the rest of the guys. So you also want to go introduce yourself to the photographer if you haven't met him yet. So you should have already introduced yourself to the photographer in the morning preparations, but go up to the photographer and just explain where you're hoping to be during the ceremony. So I'll say something like, I'm going to have 2 cameras running for the whole ceremony. I'm going to have one up the back as a really big wide, and then I'm going to have another one for close-ups of people's faces. So you also want to explain to that photographer where you're going to be when she's walking down the aisle, and then at the end of it, when they're both finished, where you're going to be when they're walking up. So this is really important. The photographer on the day is essentially going to be your best friend. If you have a good relationship with the photographer and they've seen that you're not going to try and get in the way and that kind of thing, they're not going to get in your way, and it means you're going to get really amazing footage. So remember, the photographer is your best friend on the day, and you need to treat them like that. So when we've got 2 cameras on the day, we like to have 1 camera on the groom so that we can see him nervously waiting, and 1 for the bride walking down the aisle. For the rest of the ceremony, depending on where we can set up, we'll have a crisscross setup. So 1 camera on the groom's face and 1 on the bride's face. So depending on the day, we'll also have a camera at the back on a nice big wide lens.
Of my love and faithfulness. As I place it on your finger, I commit my heart and life to you. I ask you to wear this ring as a reminder of the vows we have spoken today.
And then if somebody's doing a reading, obviously one of those angles is going to be dedicated to the person doing the reading. This room was really narrow, so we just went with 1 tight and 1 wide. So right after the exit, you want to be capturing shots of people congratulating the couple and giving them hugs and that kind of thing. So right after you've got a few shots of people hugging the couple, you want to go get your mics off the groom, off the celebrant, and also off the celebrant's speaker. If you're in a church, I've often seen photographers who haven't gotten their bags out of a church fast enough, and what's happened is the church is actually closed, the priest has started to drive away, and the photographer's got all of his stuff inside the church, and they're usually super stressed out because we need to be going straight to the photos and that kind of thing, and they don't have access to anything. So make sure you get everything out of the church or out of the way before people close or go home. Right after is usually the family photos. So we don't really need to be there for the family photos, but if you record the family photo session, it's more of an insurance for the day. So in the past, we've been at weddings where the photographer has forgotten to get a photo of a certain combination of families. So we actually took a still out of our video and gave that to the couple, and they really loved it. We've also had times in the past where somebody's passed away, like one of the grandparents or somebody else unexpectedly. Having the moments from the family session is really insurance because you're able to put a shot of them, which might be one of the last shots that person ever got, and you can put that into your highlight film. So now we're on to the photography session, and this is really the funnest part of the day. So this is where you get to get all of your cinematic shots, get shots of the couple laughing and having fun, kissing against the sunset, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a bit of a secret sauce and a bit of a method to the madness when it comes to capturing amazing moments at the photo session. Everyone's going to do this differently, but myself and a lot of other videographers like to go with questions, fun little kind of almost theater games. So you want to be putting them in situations where they're going to be talking to each other, telling an amazing story, laughing, or feeling a lot of love between one another. So I like to start really slow. I'll get them to do things like walking away from the camera, walking towards the camera, hey guys, go stand underneath that amazing tree. I'm going to get some shots of you just talking, holding hands, maybe kissing and that kind of thing. But my favorite part of the day is when I get in really close and start doing little games with them. So obviously this is totally dependent on what type of people you have. If you have more conservative people, then obviously don't do this, do something else. But I've got a bit of an arsenal of different little games and things that I can play with people to make them laugh or, you know, kiss each other and that kind of thing. So one of the games that I like to play is called the whisper game. So I get people to get really, really close together, and then I'll get the, say for example, the bride to whisper in the groom's ear. I'll say, whisper into the ear that's farthest away from me so that we can see the groom's face. Now, I want you to say, you know, if the groom were an animal, what would he be and why? But when you do that, I want you to whisper it as quietly as possible. So I like to give them a little example, so I can say, if the groom were an animal, and it can be anything. It could be, he's really lazy, so like he's a bear. Or it can be like, oh, he's really late to things. He reminds me of like an axolotl or some random shit like that. Fraser, you get to do the same thing. So whisper into Beck's ear, favorite vegetable, in your most porn star possible voice, and I want you to like really just get into it, like you gotta sell it. And that's usually a little bit fun because the bride will be whispering it so quietly that the groom is almost kind of waiting in suspense. So when the bride will say something that the groom really likes, he's most likely going to laugh or at least smile or something like that. So then we'll reverse the situation, so it's now the groom's turn to do that to the bride. And that can be a really nice way of just getting a few different laughing shots and getting people kind of holding each other. So there's a million different ways to be going about this kind of thing, so it's really up to you to muck around and have a bit of fun with the couple and get them to smile and laugh and kiss and that kind of thing.
Straight up there, you reckon?
I'll follow you guys walking out that way.
Oh yeah, I popped it.
And go for it.
So when you get to the reception, you want to go talk to the DJ or the MC and just figure out which mic they're going to be using for the speeches and the reception entrance. The really important thing is that you want to be doing a test on that mic just to see if there's any hissing or static or anything like that, so that you have amazing clear audio when it comes to speeches and the reception entrance.
Sorry to bother you, man. I just wanted to ask you whether you found out whether the best sound was going through you or going through their system on the deck over there.
Well, I haven't even told them, but we're doing both. So
We're doing both,
I've
yep.
just tuned my receiver to the same frequency.
Yep.
So I've got some control here.
Yep.
So basically the mic's going through both.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Any suggestion on which one will be easier for us to monitor, or
I'd say probably
the
that
decks
one.
over there? Yep.
There's a 6.5 millimeter output on the back.
Yep.
I would probably
Go
plug
through that
into
one?
that.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
So how we like to do that is I usually put a Rode Filmmaker kit straight into the soundboard so that the sound is going wirelessly into my camera, and that just means that I don't have to sync it up in post. Now, if I can't do that for whatever reason, I usually like to plug a zoom on audio level straight into the soundboard, and then I also like to have a backup, and I'll just put one of those Tascam DR10Ls and I'll let that kind of drape over the speaker, just so that way I've got two different sources of audio when it comes to the speeches and those kind of important moments.
So what we're going to do is put a 3.5 millimeter cable, and then we're putting this 1/4 inch adapter on the top of it, and we're going to put this into the phones out. And I'm just going to do a little test to make sure that we can actually hear ourselves. Okay, so the sound for the reception entrance and the speeches is just going to be going through this microphone, and there's going to be somebody at the lectern up there. That sound is then going through the board that we've just plugged into. We have a Rode Filmmaker kit plugged into the system, which is then being sent into this camera and in through the microphone port. Mic 1 2 2 2 2 test 1 2. And I'm going to record. So I'm going to record what my camera is recording right now, so you can understand the quality of when you patch straight into the board. So this is me testing it. Mic test 1 2 2 2 2 test. So it sounds really, really clean. Cool. Okay.
Now we're back doing the reception details. So pretty much all we want to be doing here is going through and getting details of the tables, any of the details that are on the tables.
So a really big tip for the reception is make sure you've talked to your couple beforehand about when you're going to be starting and finishing on the night. Some couples kind of randomly expect you to be there until 12 o'clock, even if you've been booked for a certain amount of hours. We always talk to our couples and confirm that, say for example, we're going to be finishing at 9:30. If we go over by like 20 minutes or something like that, that's totally fine. We're not going to charge you for that. But when it starts to go over more than 30 minutes, that's when we start to charge in half-hour chunks. So it's important to tell them how much that's going to be, how much you cost per hour, and if they want to add on extra hours on the night, how can they do that?
I'm Thomas Stewart, I'm a wedding photographer. Of late, I've got many projects. Apart from shooting, I run a podcast. It's called The Snappening, aimed at wedding photographers. In our profession, we work alone. We don't have colleagues in an office that we work with, so we try and talk about from the most mundane thing to the most complicated technical thing. The idea is that you listen to the podcast and it's almost like you're kicking back with your colleagues, chatting about your weekend, running ideas past each other, things you may have encountered, problems. So the idea is you're sitting there with us, listening to us, but it feels like you're having a beer with us or a coffee with us. So yeah, even the most mundane thing, we try and deal with, the whole spectrum. Probably, on iTunes you can just search for the Snappening podcast.
And be sure to rate him the 5 stars.
6
because
stars.
It helps with the algorithm.
It really does.
Is it 6 stars?
No, it's 5.
Oh, okay. All right. 5 stars.
I know you've both put a lot of hard work and effort into getting everything ready for today, and it's been amazing and emotional. Even the cake is in tears. That was the bad joke. That was good.
They're just empty words. I'm ready to be honest and show you that my heart is yours. I live forever, trying with it, down tethered through it all. Don't give up, let me go. One more chance and I won't let you down. How do I say that I'm the only one for you? How do I stop? How do I change when I keep turning down the wrong lane?
So if your time's up and you've got all the shots that you need to get of people dancing, the bride and groom having fun and all that kind of thing, go up to the bride and groom, give them a hug and a kiss, say thank you so much for having me, you guys were amazing today, congratulations, and I'm wishing you guys all the best. We'll be in touch with the final films, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. And that's it, you're finished. So you can go home knowing you've captured a pretty amazing result. To say thanks for sticking in till the end of this film, I'm going to give you those 2 tips on how we grew our business to 150 weddings. So if you want to see the extended film with more tips on how to grow your business, you can go to my channel, which is just Jesse Peacock, my name. So if you're just starting out, tell your friends and family that you want to start filming weddings or photographing weddings, whatever you want to do. Post amazing pictures or little snippets that you've captured on your social media. Really, you're marketing to your friends and family. So how to convince people that you're good enough to film their weddings? You don't really have to. There's always a market for everything. If you've got no experience, there will be people saying, oh, I've seen you hold a video camera before. Come film my wedding. And if your friends and family need extra convincing, go take your boyfriend or girlfriend out to a forest, get some beautiful cinematic shots at golden hour, and basically replicate the kind of shots that they would be seeing in wedding films. Now, if you want to really turbocharge kind of your growth and getting more opportunities to film weddings, go and contact every single wedding filmmaker or photographer and just say, hey guys, I don't necessarily want to film, I just want to come help you carry gear or really just assist you in any way on the day. People like me and people who run other studios always need an extra pair of hands on a big wedding day. Once you've kind of worked your way up the ladder a little bit, ask people, hey, can I second shoot for you on the day? Can I just get a second angle? And you really just want to be there absorbing how the day goes, what a normal wedding day really looks like, and what's kind of expected from a shooter on the day. So you really want to follow up with the filmmaker and see what they did with that footage that they shot on the day. What did their film look like? What did the highlight look like? What did the teaser look like? What did the full-length documentary cut look like? The filmmaker is probably going to be really busy, so you don't necessarily want to say, hey, that wedding that you shot a few months ago, can I see all of the details? You really just want to be checking their Vimeo page, their YouTube page, or even their Facebook or something like that. Once you have a really good relationship with those people, you can start to ask, hey, that footage that I shot on the day, do you mind if I cut that together and create my own little highlight reel? Start posting all of that stuff on your own social media. You're going to be getting friends and family contacting you all the time to film their wedding days. So one of the tricks to the Facebook/Instagram ad manager is you can be really detailed with your targeting. So that's things like, I want to be marketing all of my ads towards only the females between, let's say, for example, 24 and 32. So that's kind of the demographic and the age bracket that works really well for us here in Australia. But I've noticed that people get married a little bit earlier, a little bit younger in America. So for everybody else who's already established, who doesn't really need that advice, one of the easiest way to grow your clientele is through Facebook and Instagram ads. So you want to go into the Facebook ad manager, which also manages the Instagram side of things. You can create A/B campaigns. So you can have 5 different ideas of ads with different pictures, videos, and that kind of thing. And you can actually see which one of those ads people are clicking on the most. Obviously, tweak your campaigns and do what's right for you. When we were going to wedding expos, we would only book, let's say, 10 jobs from that. We met this duo, these 2 girls who were running a videography business, and they booked, I think it was 80 weddings per year just from Facebook ads at the time. So the Facebook, Instagram ad platform is really powerful. You just need to put a bit of time and effort behind it. So in this extended version of the video, I'm going to go into how we grew our business into 150 weddings per year. So really, this is the more detailed stuff. It's probably more suited to people who are shooting, 20 to 30 weddings per year and really want to grow past that point. So with Google Ads, it's a bit of a taboo subject because you can waste a lot of money. We've got friends in the wedding industry who have spent, $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and they really haven't seen any results at all. So I really don't recommend you set up your own Google AdWords campaign, because you really can just waste a lot of money. It's totally possible. Even if you spent, let's say $5,000 a day or something like that, that's not a guarantee that you're going to get a lot of traffic and a lot of leads to your website. So some people won't get value unless you go to a PPC, pay-per-click Google AdWords specialist. So we went with a firm in Sydney, in our local city. They set things up pretty much perfectly. It usually takes around about 3 months to really start to see results. And I think at the time we were spending about $1,200 a month on Google Ads. And then we really started to see results probably after a month or two. But they said that we wouldn't see results until 3 months. You can Google different specialists in the area. There will be some people who are kind of like no win, no fee. So if you don't really see any results, I don't think you get charged. So maybe go with one of those people. Whatever you do, make sure you're not being signed up to a contract. Some people will say, look, you have to be with me for 6 months before you can cancel. So definitely don't go with those people, because if you're not seeing results, just get rid of them. So this is the other really massive thing. Try to make sure that when you sign up with one of these specialists, that if you don't want them anymore and you say goodbye, that they're going to let you keep your Google Ads campaign, which means that they'll have gone through your Google Ads setup, set everything up for you, all the right targeting and all that kind of stuff. And if you get rid of them, you still get to keep that campaign. So that's actually what happened with us. They were charging us way too much money every single month just to manage our campaigns. So we actually said goodbye to them. The best thing was we had negotiated that if we said goodbye to them, we'd still get to keep all of the campaigns and data. And so we've actually kept that to this day, which is almost 3 years later or something like that. That's been a massive way that we've grown our company, and it's really scalable. So this is the thing that pretty much no one knows about, but it's critical. If you're going to be spending any money online on Google Ads or anything like that, you have to have a landing page. So a lot of old school people will say you don't need a landing page, just send all that traffic, all those interested people straight to your homepage. And that might be okay if your homepage is set up perfectly to be a landing page, but 99% of people's homepages aren't. So it's really important to send everyone who's slightly interested, they've clicked on your ad, clicked on Facebook or Instagram or on Google, they should be getting sent to a landing page. So a landing page is essentially a page where people go to it and there's enough information, there's enough enticing images, etc., that people think, oh, like I really am interested, let me enter my details. And the best thing is that once you have those details, then you can contact that person. So I'd recommend having an automatic email that goes out with your pricing, etc., and then maybe following up with a phone call as well. So the really cool thing about landing pages is that usually it's a series of images, a little bit of copy saying, hey, this is what we're all about, this is what we do, have a look at our best images, our best videos, and that kind of thing. But critically, there's not a menu on that page. So if they're interested, essentially what's going to happen is they're going to go to the page, they're going to be hyped up to the point where they get to the bottom of the page and they think, oh, well, I'm excited about this, I'm going to put in my details. But if they want to go to your about page or your home page, there's no menu at the top. So have a look at the best landing pages, and it's really easy to Google, and make sure the landing page you create is just like that. So the typical landing page converts at something like 3%. So 3% of people go to that page and they think, oh, I'm really interested, I'm going to leave my details in the form, and that means you can contact them back. But our landing page was converting at, I think, 15%, and at one point 20%. So 20% of all the people who saw our ad on Facebook or Instagram or on Google would come to this page and give us all their details. And that was a massive reason why we were able to grow so quickly. So the other really important thing is not related to landing pages. It's not related to any of that other stuff. I'm actually planning my own wedding in a few months. So it's really awesome because I've been able to go through all these different people's websites, and then I get to the About You page because I want to see who I'm going to be dealing with. I want to see if my personality matches. I want to see if this person is a crackhead who's smoking meth or something. I just want to make sure they're not weird or whatever. And I go to the About Us page and there's no picture of the person who owns the business. There's no picture of the person who I'm going to be dealing with. And I think a really important thing that we've done on our page is that when you go there, there's a little blurb about us. I'm telling you the story of how we got started. There's a picture of both Max and I, the people that generally you're going to be getting on your wedding day. And one of the things that I've really been slacking off with is recording an About Us video so that people can really see the personality that we have and see if we're a good mesh for them on their day. So these are the really big tips that have helped us grow our business into 150 weddings per year. I really hope this was useful for you guys. I'm sure you're going to have some questions, so just leave those in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer every single one of you. If you haven't already, please do hit subscribe. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.